Ripple and XRP, not sitting around waiting for a bull run. They're preparing to dominate it. Now, Raoul Pal, he calls it the moron trade. The herd piling into cheap looking coins without a clue about the substance of the network or the market cap. And this is the deal. He's right. But he's missing a big danger here in underestimating XRP. This isn't just some low price token riding retail hype. XRP has US regulatory clarity most projects would kill for, institutional rails, RLUSD, and potential ETF plays that are already in motion. A global payment network moving billions already and getting ready to go into overdrive, and a holder base that just refuses to sell. When the cheap coin crowd arrives, they're going to be thinking about some easy gains, but they'll be walking straight into a market trap where XRP's fundamentals could keep the rally alive long after those hype traders have been burned and forced out. We're going to get into it again. It's all about the details. And when I saw this from Raoul Pal, this moron trade thesis, I didn't get offended. I said, I've been saying the same thing for a long time, that once we hit a bull run, the pricing of XRP token, it is going to be advantageous to capture a lot of that retail hype money. Nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good thing. The problem is where he kind of positioned it as the only thing, and that's nonsense. We see the moron trade theory, retail investors fixate on low unit prices for coins, psychological appeal of owning more coins. We've all done that, especially when we first started. We get this many coins. If the token goes to XYZ price, I'll set for life. Everyone's done that. Market cap considerations are ignored. Market cap's not everything, and it can be a danger, a limiting factor where you think the market cap can only go up so high. I'm telling you, back in the day, we sure didn't even think we could get where we are now. So be careful with that, but it is a tool to evaluate things, of course. XRP is not cheap. It may be highly undervalued, but it's not cheap, that's for sure. And patterns repeating every bull cycle, they can be different. Different drivers of value, of course, but I think he's at least partially right here. But you can't ignore the fundamentals here. That regulatory clarity, of course, established payment rails, already moving billions of dollars for real customers, institutional on-ramps like RLUSD, and when they can tap into the Fed balance sheet, that just takes things to the next level. ETF going to get approved here soon. It's going to happen. And we just have notoriously stubborn holders that, US is suing XR or suing Ripple. It affects XRP. It's delisted. Every reason you should sell and move on, and people would not. They understood what the future was. They refused to capitulate, and they stood in there and fight. If you think the price going up, a few dollars is going to move the needle for a lot of people out there, you're nuts. It's not going to happen, and that's also going to play into value here for XRP. Institutional hooks, of course, RLUSD. Too many people are myopic about this. They're like, well, they're not using XRP. It's happening on the XRP ledger. That volume is running over the XRP ledger, and you can use that value to do all sorts of stuff, and it's all going to flow through XRP. This is huge, and it's just piping the TradFi into the XRP ledger direct, and that's a game changer that most people miss. They do not understand what this really will do for this blockchain, and they're going to be surprised when it plays out. Talked about this again, the diamond hand factor, historical holding patterns. XRP holders truly believe and have conviction in the value of this blockchain long term. It's going to be hard to move them off the mark. And again, we've seen that it reduces coins available for trade. It's just people continue to buy. The price is going up and they want more because, again, they truly see that future with this blockchain. Right or wrong, that's the way it is. And it's an important market dynamic to factor in there. Regulatory clarity. Look, we hear that new laws are coming, and they should this year. But we don't need that for XRP. We've had a judge rule that XRP itself is not a security. She's given a lot of stuff for Ripple themselves to follow and know what they can and can't do. That's something that other players in this space do not have. They have that certainty with them as an institution, where they can push it, where they cannot. XRP, the asset, that it's fine, and that's going to be a differentiator here for XRP. Institutions are going to be comfortable using these systems, working with Ripple, holding, investing in XRP. It's a huge advantage, and it's also an advantage globally because there's a lot of territories that are just going to puppet the same conclusions that we get here in the US market. It's just the way it is. There's global influence, and it's going to be a big one for XRP. This is a huge advantage, and it will continue to be so until we get some sort of regulatory clarity in this country. I still hope for the whole space that happens, but until it does, XRP has a lot of advantages here. Just kind of recap everything. Yeah, we have the cheap coin psychology kind of thing going on here. I've talked about it a lot. I didn't use moron trade, kind of insulting type of words, but it gets to the same point. Yeah, it's going to be a driver. It's going to bring people in, and that's fine. But you also have global utility, institutional adoption, and market structure. XRP, a top coin, has been for a long time and will continue to be. And all of this kind of coming together, I think, is important. Take the things that are good from people, even if you don't agree with exactly what they're saying, and say, well, yeah, there is some substance to what Raoul Pal is stating, that you're going to have people that pile into this coin because it's, at least on the surface, an attractive pricing. That's fine. Just don't ignore all the other stuff, which is what he's doing, and that's the problem there. When we take a look at this month, usually the first of the month, billion XRP released from escrow. It didn't happen till the 8th or 9th, and people are wondering what's going on. David Schwartz explained this, and we've talked about this a few times on this channel. Most people do not understand this mechanism. What happens on the first? It's available to come out of the escrow and be distributed, but someone has to send a message to the XRP ledger to make it do that. No one did until the 8th or 9th of this month, and anyone could do it. I could do it. You can do it. There's a community member that generally does this type of stuff. He'll send the message and he attaches kind of a funny thing about myself or DAI or different things going on in the space to that message, and it releases the coins. If no one does this, though, they just sit there until someone triggers the transaction. Again, it didn't happen this month till a little bit later than normal, but on the first, it was available, and it could have been triggered, and it could have been triggered by you or me or anyone out there. Just no one did until we hit about the 8th or 9th. I don't know. I guess we could go back and look at it, take a look at the Explorer. Maybe it was Ripple. Maybe it was someone else that eventually triggered that escrow release. But on the first, it's available, and it happens when someone triggers it with the transaction. And again, anyone can do it. Now, we had this report, and it was from the block, and they supposedly had talked to BlackRock, and they said, well, we have no plans to file for a spot XRP or SOL ETF at this time. Now there's some cracks showing up in that story that maybe this is some manufactured FUD by the block. There's been some reporting that people BlackRock are saying that's not true. And here's what we know. They're not going to share that with everyone. You think they're going to tell you their whole crypto strategy? Like, why would they do that? Why would they even tell the block what they plan to do and don't plan to do? And further, just as it makes sense, they're going to concede the broader crypto space, especially something like XRP, where judges ruled that it's fine. It's not a security. Well, why would they not? There's demand there. You see it in the futures. You see it in these companies that are adding XRP to their balance sheet. You see it in the daily volume. They're gonna move into the broader crypto space. I expect them to be a first mover, and I think that this report by Block is nonsense. Now, if it doesn't happen, do we have to have BlackRock? No. There's a lot of ETFs on the horizon from very big issuers. Like, it's fine. It's not something that we have to have. I just think it's going to happen pretty much for sure. I just do not see that BlackRock cares one way or the other. If there's customers, if there's demand, like, people using BlackRock services are at a disservice if they can't access the broader crypto space. If other issuers allow you to do that, well, that ain't great for their investors. Like, they should have those options. They should have the ability to get coins outside of just the top two, and you best believe BlackRock's going to provide that, and that also bleeds into multi-token baskets and things of that nature. You're going to see that, but we have enough. What do we have? 20-something applications right now. More are coming. Fidelity's likely to file at some point in time. I expect still that BlackRock will, but if they don't, no big deal. We'll move on. There's plenty out there to service that market. Interesting, as we look right now at XRP. Sol had, what was odd about Solana is it ran so early. It ran very early. You remember it jumped up to 3 in terms of cryptocurrencies. I don't count the stable coins here. But I said at the time it's running early, but most people extrapolated that this domination would continue out. And I said I just didn't see it. Nothing wrong with Solana. It's a great token. Look, it's 90 billion market cap right now. But what I'm getting at here, when you look at kind of the layout, XRP, it has 100 billion advantage over Solana. I don't see anything running it down this cycle. Not saying different cycles can't be different, but this cycle, I don't see anything touching XRP. And as an investor in this token, to be successful, we don't have to run down Ethereum. There's quite a bit of value just closing the gap. If we close half of the gap or three-quarters of the gap, and remember this, it's not a sitting target. You've seen Ethereum's now starting to go up. It's up over 4,000. That's going to continue happening. So as you're closing that gap on Ethereum and Ethereum's market cap is expanding, this is going to be huge. I think we're in a great spot. We're not going to get, leapfrogged by other coins. We're going to, start running down Ethereum and Bitcoin, and it should be a very profitable bull run for us. I think it's looking really good. I also have my own hypothesis about Solana. I truly believe that a lot of investors are going to look at SWI, which has come roaring up from, a top 50 coin up to 14. It's going to be a top 10 before the end of this thing. And so I think a lot of people are going to roll out of Sol and into SWI if they haven't already. I think a lot have, and they're not stating it. But that's going to happen because you just have so much upwards pop. Sol ain't going to run down XRP. It's going to post gains. It's just I don't think you're going to get the best gains there. We'll see it play out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Solana will go on another major tear and end up in the top few coins, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let me know down below what you think, though. But I still think SWI is going to have a big run. You see even like XRP thinking, hey, what they're doing there is great with Rust. We're going to incorporate some of that. And, SWI and Aptos both using Rust. It just shows there's something there in the architecture that it does have substance, that it is scaling, that we are seeing people use the chain. And I think it's going to be, when you look at the ones in front of SWI, it's got a lot of room to run. It's going to outrun Doge. It's going to outrun Link. It's going to outrun XLM and a lot of these coins. You'll see SWI up in the top 10, in my opinion. But XRP, it's going to at least keep that number 3 position, depending on what plays out. It could get up there around Ethereum, but I just don't see that happening. But you're going to make a lot of money. I believe this bull run, it's in a great spot here. Let me know what you think, though. Then lastly, what we have to look forward to, of course, US-China trade relations. We have a deadline coming up here on a trade deal. What's going to happen? Does it fall apart and massive tariffs come rolling back on August 12th? Do they extend it, or do they actually land a deal? I personally think they're going to kick the can down the road a bit longer. Anything is okay other than it just falls apart and here comes, huge 145% tariffs back. I don't think that's going to happen. If we get either kick the can down the road or some sort of agreement, this thing's going to continue. You're going to see financial markets react, crypto markets react, and I think we're going to get one of those two positive things. Let me know what you think, though. Big week coming up. I think we're going to do quite well. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.